I checked the time. It's 11:32 p.m. I was supposed to go to sleep after 3 last episodes ago, since I have a meeting with my boss tomorrow and can't afford to wake up late. I finally get up off the couch and start getting ready for bed. I brush my teeth, brush my hair, check the locks on the doors. All that's left is to say goodnight to Albert. Albert is exactly where I expected him to be. In front of the patio door, his tails and ears tucked, while his eyes watch the empty backyard like a camera. I reach out to pet him, but he startles back. Calm down, buddy, it's me. What's got you all spooked? I scan the backyard, not seeing anything but the dark, empty lawn. There's nothing there. He's probably just needing to go to use the bathroom. Why don't you use the buttons? Tell me what's wrong. I gestured to the buttons on the ground. I bought Albert a set of buttons that have a word associated and read aloud when they're pressed. There are buttons for walk, bathroom, play, outside, mom, food, now, and a few more. Albert hesitantly walks over, not wanting to abandon his post. He stands in front of them for a moment, thinking, before placing his paw on a button. Outside, the robotic button announces. Weird. He never uses that one. If he wants to go outside, he picks walk or bathroom. You want to go outside? It's late, but a few minutes of cold, fresh air could be nice before bed. Sure, let's go. I walk towards the glass sliding door, reaching for the handle. A loud bark startles me. Albert is an old dog, and he hardly ever barks. Instead, he relies on the buttons. I get it. You're too energetic for your age. Watch, I'm opening it right now. I unlock the door and slide it open. He firmly stands in place, but his ears and tail are tucked, and he explodes into deafening barks. Each one sounds like it's using all the air in his lungs. It freaks me out. I quickly shut the door and lock it and put a stick behind the door for extra measure. Albert stops barking, but he's growling weakly. There has to be something out there. He never acts like this. I flip on the patio light. Nothing. No light. I flick the switch a few more times. Still dark. Damn, the bulb's dead. I don't use the patio lights much. How's it burned out? I pull out my phone and turn on the flashlight and try to wave the beam through the glass, but the light is too weak to see anything more than a few feet. Should I call the cops? But what would I say? My dog's barking at nothing? I should get some sleep. I don't have time for this. Okay, buddy, maybe you just saw a squirrel or something. You can sleep in my room tonight if that calms you down, and maybe it'll calm me down too. I try guiding him by lightly dragging his collar, but he doesn't move. He just stares into the empty nothingness outside. I try yanking harder, but it feels like I'm trying to pull a statue. Come on, Albert, I huff. I'll give you a treat if you come. I'm practically choking him, but he still won't budge. I defeatedly let go. Fine, be that way. You can stay out here. I walk away expecting to hear his paws scrabble to follow me, but no. When I glance back, he's still there, in the same spot, watching. I crawl into bed and close my eyes and try to relax. Outside. The sound of the button is muffled through the wall. I roll over and try to ignore it. Outside. Outside. Does Albert know what the button means? Did I teach him correctly? Outside. 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 He's starting to piss me off. I just want to sleep. Outside now. Outside now. I push myself out of bed to see what's going on. I walk back into the dining room. Albert is still in his spot, now focused more than ever. His growling vibrates the air. I stare into the yard for a moment. The clouds part, moonlight's beam, down to reveal nothing. That's it, Albert. You're going on mute. Sorry, buddy. I remove the batteries from the outside and now buttons. I scrutinize the rest, just in case, I thought, and pulled out all the batteries for the rest of the buttons. I promise I'll put them back after we figure out what's got you jumpy. For now, just try to get some rest. I march back to bed, finally at ease. My eyes get heavy and I start to drift to sleep. Outside, now. Buttons again. I imagined it, I tell myself. But I doubt that the moment I think it. I pull the blankets over my head, every muscle tense, always one moment away from calling the police. Outside, now. This time I know I wasn't imagining it, and it's much louder. I grab my phone and dial 911. The call rings and rings and rings endlessly. My grip tightens around the phone. Come outside, now! Come isn't one of the buttons, I think to myself, and I'm too scared to move or to even cry. He says he doesn't love me anymore. I can't stop laughing. He says he's been seeing her for the last year. I can't stop laughing. He says, I've changed, and I'm not who he fell for. I can't stop laughing. He says she makes him feel alive. I can't stop laughing. He says he's taking the children. I can't stop laughing. He's following me now, asking what I'm doing. I can't stop laughing. I told the kids to get in the car. I cannot stop laughing. The propane tank is out back. I can't stop laughing. The kids are screaming, Mommy, you're going to crash. I can't stop laughing. I'm a passenger princess. I don't drive, parallel park, or follow the rules of the road. I control the stereo, the temperature, and the destination. My man picks me up every day. Same spot, same time. So like any day after work, I clock out and go to his car. A white Civic in the third stall. I pop the door and plop onto my throne. Normally, my baby knows better than to talk to me right after my shift. At first, nothing seemed off, but that changed when a foul smell began to tickle my nose. My face scrunched at the sour odor. Then I noticed the lack of music or dull audiobooks. Normally, I'm serenaded by some indie alt-rock or a sci-fi audiobook. But nothing. With that, I looked over and my stomach lurched. In the driver's seat was a large, greasy man with his damp hair plastered to his head. He gazed out the window. He didn't seem to notice me. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I thought this was my boyfriend's car. I reached for the handle, but his deep voice made me freeze.
No, this is your boyfriend's car. He's in the trunk.
The lock clicked and the car began to go into reverse, pulling out of the parking lot.
If you scream, I'll slit your throat like your boyfriend.
The knife glinted as we merged onto the empty highway. As the mile markers became less frequent, I realized I'd finally lost control of the stereo, the temperature, and the destination. We pulled into a deserted rest stop. He killed the engine. The handle was right there, the same one I'd reached for an hour ago. It didn't move. Some part of me was still waiting to be told where we were going. His door opened. Gravel crunched as he came around the back. Now I'm trunk trash. I wish I knew what I did to deserve this silent treatment. My house is usually loud, full of laughter and people talking over each other. Every dinner felt like a gathering, but it was just a random Tuesday. I'm never one to raise my voice, and trying to join in on the conversation is an extreme sport I gave up years ago. I knew my place, quiet in the corner, not a peep unless spoken to. The problem is, when one of them is mad at you, the whole house joins in. I didn't cross any lines or upset anyone, which adds to my confusion. I came down for dinner 2 nights ago and it was dead silent. Some avoided my eyes and others just stared unblinking. I shifted uncomfortably, making my way to the end of the table by the corner where I usually sat. On the table is the soup I made 3 nights ago. I guess they liked it. I waited for the house to roar like it always did. Nothing. In all honesty, I don't mind the quiet. I can actually hear myself think. I didn't know it'd be this loud. As I'm about to say something, my uncle's head slammed into the table, spilling the soup in front of him. Rude, I say as I help prop him up in his chair. I look at his bloodshot eyes, bulging from their sockets, jaw hanging open like he's still gasping for air. He always was the loudest one. I pat him as I make my way back to my seat. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, I shoot a glance at my uncle. It's been getting really stuffy lately and it's nauseating. Cleaning this up is just... Anyways, I'm leaving. I look around the table and still... nothing. They heard me though. I got to finish the sentence without being spoken over. I'd take a deep breath, but they really are getting pungent. 4 lovely little ducklings were born that sunny day, but no one expected the 5th one, and Mama Duck gasped away. The first 4 were yellow, like copper shining bright. The 5th one was brownish, and the poor thing looked a sight. His siblings quickly named him Ugly Duckling, they would cry, and the wretched one kept weeping as resentment grew inside. His mother, so ashamed, would glance at him askance. No food would come his way, no treats, no second chance. Poor Ugly Duckling, he didn't know what to do. He longed for his brothers' love, and for his mother's too. Then one night, while his family lay asleep, he took a sharpened stone and chose some anatomy to tweak. His little brothers' faces he disfigured slow and neat, while they screamed aloud in pain, and he smiled with delight so sweet. Now he was no longer the ugliest one in sight. He couldn't wait for Mother to wake and love him right. My wife and I had accumulated a monstrous amount of debt over the years. Even though we both worked full-time, we were now at risk of losing the house, along with everything we had built over the last 10 years. That's what led me walking into the woods in search of a cottage. After talking to some old-timers at the bar about my troubles, they told me an old wives' tale about a witch who more than likely was just a hermit looking for peace and quiet, but supposedly granted wishes to people for a price. So now I was drunkenly stumbling through the woods when I finally saw a faint yellow glow. Following it led me to a small, run-down cottage. On nothing but liquid courage, I walked up and gave the door 3 firm knocks. The door swung open by itself on the 3rd knock. I crossed the threshold and entered. I was instantly hit by the humidity, almost unbearable, followed by the strong smell of herbs. It almost masked the underlying damp dog aroma.
What do you want?
The voice made me jump. It was quiet but firm. Perched in a worn leather chair in the corner sat a truly horrid sight. An elderly woman, large, one cataract-filled eye, the other missing entirely, leaving nothing but an empty socket. She smiled, revealing one singular tooth like an infant's. Drool ran down her chin.
What do you want?
She repeated. Stuttering after seeing her ghastly features, I finally managed. I heard you might be able to clear my debt. There was a long pause before she replied.
I can, but I require payment.
I opened my mouth to ask how much, but she quickly added,
For this transaction, I require 1 sound tooth.
The words caused her to spray spit across my cheek. I weighed it up. Moments of pain for the peace of mind that having my debt cleared would give me. Deal, I said confidently. She smiled coldly at my acceptance. Expecting her to hand me some sort of tool so I could do the deed myself, I was horrified when she suddenly rushed me with unexpected speed. Before I knew it, her yellow-stained fingers were in my mouth. The ripping of the tooth from its root was nothing short of agonizing. She held it up to the light before telling me,
Transaction complete. You may leave.
It was hard explaining to my wife why I had blood trickling down my chin, but a simple, I fell over drunk, was good enough to satisfy her. The next morning, my debt was gone. A private buyer had settled every penny. I rushed to tell my wife, but she only gave me a faint smile before returning to her book. It had worked. I floated around on cloud 9 for several hours before looking around the small 4 walls of our apartment. That was the night I returned to the cottage.
What do you want?
I want a large house, I replied. She thought for a moment before saying,
That'll cost the memory of the first time you met your wife.
I thought about it for only a moment. Deal. I didn't even think it had been a particularly good memory. Again, she stood before me and placed her hand against my temples. A blinding pain seared through my mind. Blood oozed from my nose and eyes.
Transaction complete.
I hurried home. The next morning, I was woken by a knock at the door. A solicitor informed me I'd inherited a large estate from an estranged uncle. We moved in a few weeks later. Overjoyed, I asked my wife what she thought. It's nice, she replied in a flat, monotone voice. I was addicted. I could give us whatever we wanted. Before long, I found myself back at the cottage, face to face with the witch. I want an immeasurable amount of wealth. It took her only seconds to reply.
That'll cost you Ben.
My smile faltered. Ben was our 10-year-old German Shepherd. I quickly composed myself, thought of the bigger picture. Deal. She didn't respond. She simply smiled. When I got home, Ben was gone. After putting up flyers to appease my wife, we slowly carried on with life. Although I still feel guilty, not knowing what exactly happened does make me sleep better at night. I picture him happy, as far-fetched as that is. We now had everything we needed, but that still didn't fill the void in my wife's heart. She cried almost constantly. She lost interest in everyone and everything. I hated seeing her like this. She deserved to be happy, and I knew one way to make that happen. I made my final journey to see the witch. Walking in with confidence, I spoke before she could. I want you to make my wife happy. She leaned back. I could almost see her mind working, calculating. Several long minutes passed before she finally said, almost gleefully,
That'll cost you your firstborn.
I chuckled. Deal.
Transaction complete.
She didn't know the reason we were in so much debt in the first place was because we'd spent an ungodly amount on fertility treatments, IVF treatments, doctor consultations, specialists. Every single one of them told us the same thing. My wife was infertile. The ride home was filled with joy. I'd finally gotten a free wish. I'd finally bested the witch. As I pulled into the driveway, I saw the front door burst open. My wife came running towards me before tripping and falling. I jumped out of the car and rushed to help her. She was crying. No, she was hysterical. But this wasn't the same crying I'd grown used to over the last few months. This wasn't filled with sadness or quiet acceptance. This was pure joy. Honey, I'm so happy. It's a miracle. Our prayers have been finally answered. No, we're pregnant. Their friends advised them to undergo a trial separation. They went on separate vacations, but they realized that it didn't help. So they decided to divorce. But without a prenup, they argued bitterly. I want 60% of the estate, the wife demanded. Nonsense, the husband retorted. The wife grew furious and yelled, You'd better listen to me, because I could kill you right now. If I weren't such a nice person, I would do it. The husband laughed and replied, And how are you going to kill me? Remember when we went on our trips? The wife responded. Well, I learned black magic very well. In fact, I became an expert. I could kill you right now if I wanted to. The husband roared with laughter. You know what? Do it. I dare you. Fine, the wife replied. Give me some of your fingernails, or a lock of your hair. The husband nodded. He looked at his hands. Too short. I will cut off my hair in the bathroom and bring it back. When he returned, he found her surrounded by lit black candles, holding a wooden effigy in one hand and an obsidian dagger in the other. He handed her the lock of hair, and she wrapped it around the effigy and raised the dagger. Don't say I didn't warn you, the wife yelled, and stabbed the effigy. And the husband thought to himself, I've always hated how she leaves clumps of her hair on the shower walls. It's been a long 5 years. I can't even express how difficult this whole ordeal has been on me. The stress, the reports, the grief. It's all been pulling me down like ankle weights in a swimming pool. But they found her. Finally. And now it's like my brain is missing the uncertainty. It's one hell of a feeling. I was so lost for so long. And now it's like there's only one direction to move forward. I spent these last 5 years convinced that she'd never be found. That I was going to have to move on and let the past be the past. Every date night, every candlelit dinner, they were just memories. Memories that kept me up every single night. More than anything, though, I was absolutely terrified to forget her smile. I couldn't allow myself to. It was like those white teeth haunted me in my dreams. I say haunted, but part of me is grateful for it. When you accept someone is gone, you have a way of cherishing every single memory, even the ugly ones. Like the night she had gone missing, I learned to love the last memory of her voice. Her surprised gasp before she screamed at me to get away from her. The way she choked out my name in her dying breath. It stuck with me for days after, and now here it is again, fresh in my mind as I look out at the sea of police cars in front of my house. It's all I can hear, even over the sirens and battering ram against my front door. I was so certain they'd never find her, so convinced that they believed she disappeared off the face of the earth. My only flaw was I liked to visit her. I liked to see her on her anniversary and birthdays, and I guess some lone detective must have been following me. The only fault I had was loving her, even after losing her. But do I regret it? Absolutely not. I mean, how could I? After all, she was my wife.